Hi again. So, I am recording two videos in the same day. Do not come for me. I am wearing the same outfit. I know. Yeah, so from January to August 2nd, this is all the books that I've read, and I'll give you my honest review about them. I cannot promise that I will remember everything about each book, but I'll just tell you if I liked it or not. And if you want to know more, you can go to my Goodreads, and I've rated all the books. So, I'm not a very harsh critic when it comes to book. If I enjoyed it, I was taken into that world. If I finished it in less time, that means I was really hooked into the book and I loved the book. So all my ratings are usually between 3 to 5. But some books I just did not like it. I was very disappointed. Maybe the books are good, but it's not my style of book. So I just gave them a lesser rating. So I'll tell you why, but still. Okay, cool. Let's start. So in Jan, I read a total of 5 books, and also I should give disclaimer that I usually read ebooks. Only recently I've been starting to buy physical copies, so I'll just put the cover somewhere in the screen. Okay, so the first 3 books are a series from Colleen Hoover, and that is Maybe Someday, Maybe Not, Maybe Not. These 3 books, they are actually good books, but only thing that I didn't like about is the whole affair thing or cheating thing. I don't know, maybe people will debate whatever is right or wrong, but I just didn't like that especially. I mean that specific part. But otherwise I would say all 3 books are really good. Next is Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This is just an amazing book. I don't have much to say because like I said, I'm not a critique. I just review books based on whether I like it or not. Not for how what do you say, how great the author has written their writing style. I'm not into literature like that, so I won't know much. But I'll just say that I loved this book so much. It's out of my genre of books that I usually read. It's not romance fully, but yeah, this is amazing. I love the author, Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I would recommend reading this book. The final book that I read in Jan is The Unhoneymooners, and I also have a physical copy of it. And again, this is a book which is enemies to lovers trope, and I love that trope so much. And it had me in the book for the entire time of the book. So it's a really good book. And I've heard a lot about Christina and Lauren, and I have a lot of books from them on my to be read. So I guess that's that. Okay, in February, I read only 2 books. One is The Soulmate Equation and The Spanish Love Deception. So, The Soulmate Equation is by Christina and Lauren again, which again I loved. It's like a little bit of science involved, and I love science. I'm a science student, and anything like with that kind of thing, I love. And I like the whole concept of the book. So, it's a really good book. I would suggest you to read it. So next is The Spanish Love Deception. Again, it's a very famous book in TikTok and Instagram and Bookstagram and stuff. And I also liked it a lot. Just little bit of disclaimer is that some of the scenes might be a little bit cringy. So that's the thing. But other than that, it's an amazing book. I would suggest you to read it. In March, I only read one book. So I should say that March, April, May, till June also a little bit. It was the time which is hectic in college, so I couldn't read that many books. So yeah, March, the only book that I read was Hard Bones by Colleen Hoover. People love that book on Instagram a lot, but I wasn't very impressed about that book because I don't know, maybe because I was in a reading slump that it took me so long to finish the book. But because for the entirety of March, I was only reading that book. But I took a lot of breaks also. So I don't know. It didn't keep me hooked the entire time. And I guess I liked it. I don't hate Colleen Hoover books. I love Colleen Hoover books. Also, if I'm saying Colleen wrong, it's because of the famous YouTuber Colleen Ballinger. So I just say that name as Colleen instead of Colleen, which is how it's usually pronounced. Anyway, so that's the only book. I don't hate it, but it's not my most favorite book of Colleen Hoover. Pauline Hoover. So yeah, but I would still recommend people to read it because it's a nice, I guess, wholesome, feel good kind of thing. Okay, the next thing, April, I did not read any books. Yeah, I was just really busy and I had a lot of work to do. Anyway, May, I only read one book, which is Love and Other Words by Christina and Lauren again. This book, I don't know, again, maybe the whole thing of the cheating thing I did not like. But otherwise, it was a really good book. It's like, again, they talk about books in that book. It, the lead, I don't want to give too much away, but the lead of the book, the girl and the boy, they're both like avid readers. So that was the thing that I liked about the book. So coming to June, I read two books, which is Manage Code and Swimming Lessons. So this book, I was kind of disappointed to say. Again, entirety of June, this was the only book that I read throughout. Like I took my own sweet time to finish this book. I am from Tamil Nadu, and I would say like the lead male character is from Tamil Nadu, and it was very accurate in the sense like how our culture was described in the book. So I give that to Brooke, but I don't know. I was just kind of disappointed by this book. I don't know why, but yeah, I guess you could give it a read. So yeah, swimming lessons. Oh my god, I have a lot to say about swimming lessons. So swimming lessons is actually a poetry book, and I guess if you are somebody who watches Riverdale and you are a fan of Lily Reinhardt, then you know it is by Lily Reinhardt. It's just an amazing book. I just she is not a poet. I'm also not a poet. I sometimes write poems in just normal words. I'm somebody who cannot comprehend poems that well. I mean, if somebody explains it to me, I'll understand and appreciate. But other than that, I like it when things are put straightforward, but still very meaningful. And that's something how swimming lessons was. It's very straightforward and simple words, but it has such deep meaning. And I don't know, I just love the book. I would ask you guys to read it. So there is that. Okay, coming to finally July. But July is when I read the most amount of books in this year. So far, I've read 20 books in this year, and my Goodreads challenge is 50 books this entirety of the year. I hope to read more than that. But so in July, the first book that I read was A Handful of Sunshine. That is by an Indian author. Again, I it is a romance. It's kind of like a serendipity kind of thing. I didn't like it that much. Again, the whole cheating thing was there. I don't know, it just it kind of ruins the whole plot when there is cheating. So yeah, so and I don't know, I just didn't like how the book was written. It's a very popular book. People really like the book. But then I guess for my kind of writing style and my kind of genre of books, it just didn't fit in, felt awkward. So yeah, no offense to those who actually like the book. I just personally didn't like the book. Next is Memories of Midnight. This is by Sydney Sheldon. This is the first like thriller crime. It's not crime exactly, but thriller book. Just this is the first book out of my genre that I read. I started with romance and I only read romance. I've read here and there non-romance fictions, but this is the only proper thriller that I read. Again, I am pretty sure there's a lot of fans for Sydney Sheldon, but I personally did not like the book because first thing is this is a sequel to a book. So I got this without knowing that this is a sequel of the book. The prequel is something else. So yeah, I don't know. It's just again, it's just the writing style of Sydney Sheldon is just not something that I like. Again, he's very famous. A lot of people love him, but just not for me. Okay, so next book that I read is Anxious People. I could go on and on about this book. I love this book. Again, it's not my genre of book that I've read. But thanks to my friend, she recommended it. It is so funny and it is so simple. It's so beautifully written. I love the writing style of this author. And so, yes, I would absolutely recommend everybody to read this book. It's a very, it's not a very big book. It's kind of a big book and it's kind of slow also, but in the end, it all makes sense and it's amazing. So yes, I would recommend that. Then again, another book that I read was Home by Whitney Hansen. It's another poem book, and I absolutely loved that. Oh my god, it was amazing. I have so much of my favorite poems from that. Again, same thing applies as swimming lessons, and that's what caught me. And it's just beautiful. I just have no other words. I would recommend. Please read it. If you're not a poem person, also you would love it. I'm saying that much. Okay. Next thing that I read was the Summer I Turned Pretty series. I don't want to say a lot more. I've already said much in my previous unboxing videos and just watch the series, read the books. I just love it. That's all. The final book that I read for July is You've Reached Sam. It's a very popular book in TikTok again, very popular book in Instagram. A lot of people say they love it. I also liked it. It's a very wholesome story, but I don't know. I just couldn't personally connect with that much. But it's a good read, and I liked the book. It's a very good book, very well written also. So yes, and finally the book that I read today actually, it was a very tiny book, and it's called Galatea. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but it's by Madeline Miller, the same author who wrote Circe and Song of Achilles. It was a very short book. I don't know. Her writing is beautiful because Song of Achilles is a really beautiful book. Galatea was also good, and I don't know enough about mythology and people like that, goddesses or something like that, enough to understand what she meant. But it was a nice book. It's a very short story. It was like a tiny book. So there is that. That's all my reads from January to August 2nd, and there'll be many more unboxing videos, new books videos. I'll update you guys monthly on what I read, and that's about it now. Hope you enjoy the video. Again, readers, please comment down stuff. We can have a whole conversation, and you can check out my Goodreads. And that's about it. Okay, bye.